In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
It's time for Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues today, with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly. Ladies, Motherhood Talk Radio is here to give you a powerful platform by giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. Motherhood Talk Radio has interviews with best-selling authors, gurus of happiness, and women of interest who every single day make our world a better place for our families. Motherhood Talk Radio, powered by Motherhood Incorporated, is on the air now. Moms, this really is your show. Motherhood Talk Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, Motherhood Talk Radio. We are here with Christy Holly and Sandra Beck, and we have something very exciting for our first segment, a little different than what we're used to. We are going to bring on a guest friend of mine from the military, and he is an amazing Marine, and he is part of a great program. Christy, it's about freedom dogs. Have you ever heard of the Freedom Service Dogs?
I have not until now. I'm looking forward to hearing all about this program.
Well, as mothers, we take care of our kids, we take care of our dogs, and I like to think that if my son was serving and he needed some help because of, something that happened in battle, if a soldier returns home with some sort of life-altering wound, that there'd be something out there that could help him. And one of the things that I came across on our sister show, Military Mom Talk Radio, was that yesterday we had on Richard, who is a Marine, and he is the husband of my co-host, Tina Gonzalez, and he participates in one of these programs about freedom dogs. Richard, are you on the line with us today? Richard?
Oh, no.
Where is Richard? Are we live on the air? That would be good to know at this point.
Oh, I think I heard him.
Richard?
Yes.
There you are. Oh, thank God, because I was so worried we'd have to talk about freedom dogs by ourselves.
Oh, no.
No, you're good to go, right?
Yes, I am.
So can you tell us a little bit about freedom dogs and why we're having you on the show today?
Yes. Well, first, I just want to thank you again for allowing me to come back on the show and talk about freedom dogs and get our message out to everybody. Freedom dogs. I'm a Marine. I've been wounded in combat, and I'm with Wounded Warrior Battalion at Camp Pendleton. And I was approached by the command to have another therapeutic outlet, and that was with freedom dogs. The command felt that I would benefit well from having service dog who was trained not as a normal typical service dog, where you see with Canine Companion, where they deal with people that are blind or in wheelchair bound. The freedom dogs are actually, they do a lot of work with also PTSD and TBI as well. So a lot of benefits from the freedom dog.
They're great. I mean, and what's even better about these freedom dogs, I think they provide just a tremendous service, but, we also do a tremendous service, to the animal community in that these are rescued dogs. These are not specially bred dogs for freedom dogs. They're rescued dogs that are trained.
Yes.
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And that's part of the therapeutic avenues we get as well. Being part of this program, I am one of the Marines that are participating, and I'm not fully completed with my program. But some things we do is we work with the dogs as they're training to become fully operational service dogs for us. And so in the meantime, we're utilizing how to utilize a service dog in different venues and out in the public, taking them to medical appointments. At the same time, they are learning as well, learning to deal with us. So we actually build a bond as we're both growing and learning how to support each other.
Well, and I think, there's got to be, I don't presume to know what it's like to be in battle. I don't know what presume to like to be injured and come home and have to kind of reintegrate into, a traditional setting. But, it's got to be a lonely operation, and it's got to be difficult at times. I know it's a big strain on your family and your relationships, but, to have somebody, a dog that's been trained, that's there for you, that's for your needs, that's got to provide a great source of comfort.
It does so much. You would be surprised that a dog who doesn't speak our language, how beneficial and therapeutic and understanding and unbiased they can be for you when you're having the most toughest days and you're trying to communicate with people that speak the same language as you, and yet you can't convey your message to them. But yet here's this dog who knows you. He feels your anxiety, he feels your stress, your emotion, and he comes and puts his head on your lap, or licks your face, comes by and just sits by you and just sits there and is quiet. And that is by far some of the best medicine I've received so far with going through my treatment.
Well, I'm just so glad to hear you say that. I'm so glad that you can share that with us today. I think, this identifies a huge need that's growing, especially because our battlefield survival rates have gone up and the life-saving techniques continue to improve. The number of our wounded U.S. service members returning home who are unable to walk or manage some, of the different physical tasks, estimates have said they're expected to quadruple over the next 5 years. So this program is really vital. I think it's really important. I mean, it does so much for our service members. It does so much to relieve, the issues that we have with the overpopulation of dogs. I mean, to me, it's just such a win-win situation. And at the end of the day, it comes down to money. All the stuff comes down to money. And there's something, Richard, that you talked to me yesterday about the show on the Military Mom Talk Radio, that we have an opportunity to literally just go on vote. We're not asking anybody to send any money, though that would be good. And if you want to, you can go to freedomservicedogs.org, because, I'm going to pitch for this as much as I can. But there's also an opportunity for you to go online and vote so that, is it Pepsi? Is that the sponsor?
Yes, it is. It's Pepsi Refresh. And what it is Pepsi has came up with an idea at the Refresh Project. And what they're doing is every month they're selecting so many different organizations with their own causes in different sectors like health, arts, and so forth. And what they're doing is the organizations with the most vote at the end of the month will receive different grants. Well, Freedom Dog is in the health department, and what they're going to do is at the end of the month, if Freedom Dogs has as one of the two top competitors in their category, they will receive a $250,000 grant. Which, I mean, right now we do. Freedom Dogs does an amazing job coming to and supporting us, especially us at the Wounded Warrior Battalion, bringing the dogs and taking us out to places and helping us utilize the dogs. But a lot, like you said, a lot of that takes money. A lot of that people don't understand. To raise a service dog, it costs money to feed them. It costs money to train them. People have to dedicate their lives. It is really a 24-hour job training these dogs to do what they're going to do to help us. I mean, these dogs are amazing. Some of the things that they can do are they're training to turn on the lights when we have our night terrors at night. There's even dogs that can even help assist with washing clothes. So it is amazing.
I mean, Christy and I, as mothers, we can get one of those. But the whole point is that we need anybody listening to the show today, anybody who picks up this, as a repeat on some of our sister places that the rebroadcast. We need you guys to go to refresheverything.com, REFRESHEVER. Oh, for crying out loud, it's Refresh Everything. I can't spell it. But you can also Google it. And you want to put in Freedom Dogs or Freedom Dog Heroes at that point, or for our heroes, so that we can go on. We're only asking you to vote. We're only asking you to do this for the month of June. It's super important. It's a great cause, and Richard, I'm so happy that you're able to be here today and to bring this opportunity to allow our listeners to help with really just the click of a mouse. We're not asking for much.
Can we vote more than once?
Well, this is how it works. So you go onto the Pepsi Refresh, and it'll show you the whole project. And what you do is you go into the search column and you type in Freedom Dogs, and it'll be the first category you see, and you say vote here. And literally, it takes 30 seconds, or maybe just a little bit more. You type in your name and your email, you get registered real quick, and then you vote. And you vote one time a day. And but the thing is, we have the power to pass that on to everybody. And so I've been doing my job because I really truly benefited from this, and I know that there are so many more Marine service members out there that would truly benefit from this. So this has been really my task for the month, and just my way of showing them my appreciation for them as well.
Well, and in the time you were explaining how to do it, I actually went on the Pepsi Refresh Project website, therefreshedeverything.com, and there it is, bright red, train Freedom Dogs. It doesn't even take 30 seconds. I think it took me all of about 15 seconds. And these are the specialty service dogs to help heal wounded Specialty service dogs to help us heal wounded forget it. Freedom Dogs, heroes for our heroes. Just go and vote. Just get on there, Pepsi Refresh. Christy's laughing at me here, but right now you're 95th in rank. We need to push that up even higher. Voting ends on June 30th. Please, there's a YouTube video on here. You can actually see these dogs in action. They're so darn cute, and the soldier's not bad either. So
get out there and vote.
Get out there and vote. So, Richard, anything else you want to say before we go on to our next guest?
Well, I appreciate the time, and I really encourage everybody to go on the website and vote. And, what I've done is I can only reach so many people, so I started reaching out to other people who knew more people and tell them, hey, can you forward this email to everybody in your address book, and can you post this on your Facebook? And, it's a really great cause, and it's free, and, this is one way that, people can give back to those who continue to give. And,
Absolutely.
Even myself,
Absolutely. You guys go to battle. You're asking us to click a mouse. It's not even a fair fight. We are going to go to break now, and when we come back, we will have Maureen McDermott, and we will talk about real estate.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Girlfriended is on TogiNet. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, with your hosts Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. This show is your chance to share, learn, laugh, and connect with other women. The Girlfriended principle was born out of loss.
Lisa had recently had her mother pass away from cancer, and my mom was murdered. A man just walking into a room and started a 23-second shooting spree.
I think one of the things we both realized going through those tragedies that you can be extremely okay and be extremely sad.
Check out girlfriended.com. And then be a part of Girlfriended, the radio show. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
Your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, they don't totally understand that emotional side to women like another woman does. And I think that's so important just to have somebody that you go, she gets me.
Check out the website, girlfriended.com. Don't miss Girlfriended with Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. What's your story? Are you living it? Well, you could be. It's What's Your Story with Hillary Bilbrey. Friday mornings at 10 Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Her passion is helping others discover, create, and live their personal brands. Yep, you heard me. You have a brand. No different than Coke, Pepsi, or Nike. You are a walking, talking, living, breathing brand. You're not a logo. You're not a tagline. The choices you make become the path you take. This is your brand. Now, live your story. Your brand is not just what you say it is. It's also what others say it is. So what are you communicating? And how can you create an authentic brand? We'll take on these challenges with What's Your Story? Every week, Hillary will feature teens, moms, and organizations that are learning and living their story. Now, her passion is to help others discover, create, and live their personal brands. To find out more, go to inspiredbyfamily.com. It's What's Your Story with Hillary Bilbrey. Friday mornings at 10 Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, Motherhood Talk Radio. This is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Christy Holly. Christy, how you doing today?
I'm doing good.
What do you think of Freedom Dogs?
I think it's awesome.
You know, well, especially because I was thinking about your husband. You know, it's like, you know, he served as a fireman and a first response a lot of times.
Right.
So PTSD, I would imagine, is something that might affect both police officers and firemen.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
You know, so these service dogs that could help our wounded warriors can also, I think, you know, if the program gets big enough, it could also be service dogs that could help the, help the police and the firemen, because they serve on our front lines, and a lot of them actually cross over. I know a lot of my Marine reservists also function as police officers, and, I just think it's such a great program. Oh, there's my child. How about that? You know, he always wanted to be on the radio. Now he is. It's all good. That's why it's Motherhood Talk Radio. You'll never know what you get week to week.
This is true.
Well, this week we have a wonderful guest. She's a very good friend of mine. She's a lovely woman. She's a consummate professional. Her name is Maureen McDermott, and she is a real estate agent who has practiced real estate for enough time to, we're not going to say it because we are all girls here on the air, we're going to talk to her today about kind of the buying and selling of homes in relation to the family, because in this market there are some of us who are losing our homes, there's some of us that are going into short sale, there are some of us that are in the process of, oh my gosh, are we losing our home? There's so much going on, Maureen. I'm so glad that you could be here with us today.
No, Sandra, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, a little bit of background?
Sure. You were so kind. I've been in real estate for 17 years. So going back previous to real estate, all of my careers kind of dovetailed into the next one. I started in banking eons ago. It was in banking for 25 years in lending, and I primarily was in private lending. So I had individuals as opposed to businesses that were my clients. The lending took me into mortgage lending, which then took me at a time in California where I am, you had to, when you were a mortgage lender, you had to have your real estate license, and that's what jump-started my real estate career. I then transitioned to become a commercial real estate agent, and that would be somebody who sells commercial properties, hotels, shopping centers, apartment buildings, that type of thing. Moved to a new location in California and thought, gee, I want to go back into real estate, but where I live is a smaller town and not a lot of commercial, so I transitioned to residential, which was great because I was able to utilize my finance background, and because I was primarily in private banking. When you're selling real estate, you're typically dealing with somebody's largest asset, and it's a very personal experience, and it's a very large economic consideration that the person is usually making. So I was able to marry my banking and the private banking into residential real estate, and kind of brings me to what I do today.
Well, and you're also a mother of two, is that right?
I am a mother of two, and who are now, one is going into his third year in college, and my daughter just graduated high school. But they have known me as a working mother pretty much, now they're 20 and 17. They have known me as a working mom, I would say 80% of their lives. There are different times during their life, Sandra, that I did kind of step out of the working world because I thought it was either important for them in the age point that they were at, And but they've always known me as a mom who has participated in the working world, and they've seen it as an important component in our household. I do it because I am passionate about real estate, but I also do it because it's financially necessary that I participate in our household. And I think it's good for my kids to see that. I think that's important, particularly for my daughter and for my son, actually, because I think it's important that they understand that money doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah, that is important. That's hugely important.
And they're always so cute. They're like, "Oh, Mom, did you sell a house today?" Because they know when I sell a house, that means that translates into, gee, we can go buy that thing that we were eyeing, or I guess we're going to go take that trip, or so they've kind of learned that when Mom sells a house, that's for celebration, because it typically translates into something that they will benefit from.
Right.
And that's okay.
Soccer practice? Does that mean I get a Wii? Oh, okay, Mom, go ahead and miss my soccer practice.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Well, but, it's so funny, we talk about and we laugh about, kids and things like that, but moving and selling a house when kids are involved, that's really difficult on a family.
It is. And, it's funny you say that. I was just actually invited over to somebody's home because they are going to be putting it on the market, and they were asking me what they should do to stage it correctly before it goes on the market. And we walked through the house, and we got to her teenage son's room, and I said, "We're doing nothing in here." And she looked at me, and I said, "I don't believe in disrupting kids." I said, "Your son's room is not going to sell the house. The walls were painted. Every wall was painted a different color." I said, "I don't care. This is your son's room. We're not disrupting him." So you are correct, Sandra. Moving is, for adults, is unnerving, and then a child is like, well, where am I going? What does this mean? So as a realtor, when I go in and when it's a listing, I try and make it as least invasive to the children. And then there are times that I've gone in and I said, "Hey, if you want to, you be my helper." And a lot of times, there's always a toy scattered here or there, and I have said to children, "You know what, here's a big basket, and I'll put this in your room, and when you go out in the morning, you put everything in there. We can shove it under your bed. And if I find that you're just really helped me a lot during the time period we're trying to sell Mom and Dad's house and your house, I'm going to have a pizza party for you at the end of the day." And they've loved it. So I'm not trying to bribe the children, but I try and engage them in the process because it's scary, and I want to make it not scary.
Well, and I think as a mother, you can recognize, that it is scary. There a lot of times when a house sells like this, it's the only place these children have ever known.
Exactly. And sometimes, as you said at the top of the program, sometimes people are moving not by choice. And I'm very sensitive to that. I'm always sensitive to people's where they're coming from and where they're going.
Well, and I think one thing that would be great for our listeners to take away from this, especially if they are in the process of losing their home or selling their home, that they should be able to talk to their real estate agent and strike a compromise that says, look, I will leave, the great room, I'll leave the family room, the kitchen will be spotless, but the one domain that I'm not going to pressure my kids are in their bedroom. I mean, not that you want to make it a disaster, but it's always been the way I've ran it because I'm a mom, and I've always let my children's room be their own domain anyway, and their bedrooms are not what's going to sell the house. So that's really important to hear. The bedrooms the children's bedrooms is not what's going to sell the house. What's going to sell the house?
Well, I mean, presentation is important. When somebody does drive up to the front of a house, within the first 5 seconds, a buyer has determined if they even want to get out of the car. So visually, you want to present a pretty picture when somebody walks in. And
is that what they call curb appeal?
Yeah, exactly. That would be curb appeal. And when you do come up to the front of a house, I'm not saying you have to have 20 rose bushes all in full bloom, but in fact, if there is a hose, have the hose rolled up on something. Don't have it all askew so people are tripping over the hose.
Oh.
Make it nice and tidy, as best as you can present the front of the house so that you have, as you said, good curb appeal.
Well, and especially, if you think about it, when you go to, when I was looking for my for houses recently, I was, you stand at that front door sometimes, for 5 minutes waiting to be let in. If it's not on a lockbox, you ring the doorbell and you're waiting. You're standing around looking at everything. I would think that would have something to play with it, too.
Well, it does. And particularly, I'll go back to like the hose example. Let's say the hose, it's constantly dripping or something. Don't have a potential buyer standing there going, oh, well, that hose is dripping. I wonder what else doesn't work in the house. So just walk around your home. If you are preparing your home to go on the market and put it for sale, just walk around the home and look at it through the eyes of a buyer. And those things that you kind of, oh, I know that there's a chip on the corner over there, or I know that tile broke off. Go to the hardware store, take up the tile, have it repaired. Another thing that I encourage my sellers to do is to have a home inspection done prior to going on the market. So, in fact, everything that a home inspector would find if he was representing a buyer. And twofold. Why would I do that? Because, A, you can either repair the things up front, or you can identify to a potential buyer, oh, these are items that we're aware that they are repair items that need to be fixed. And that lets them know that you have gone on the market at a certain price, knowing that those flaws are existing. Because when a buyer comes along and they are under contract with you and they do their inspection, there's something, when a buyer has to fix something, it costs twice as much as when a seller would have to do it. It's a way of renegotiating. And so I always encourage people to have an inspection up front and fix what you can and disclose it, because then it appears to a buyer there's no hidden agenda.
Well, and it takes the fear out of both sides, especially I know the home before this one was a fix and flip, and it was older, and I was terrified when I put it on the market going, I don't know what's lurking in here, and, I got the home inspection done. There really wasn't anything I could, it made the home sale a lot less stressful.
Right, and because it is stressful anyway, take the stress out. It shouldn't be stressful.
You have to get it done anyway.
Exactly. So that's something I recommend to sellers. Just make it as presentable as you can. Have your curb appeal as 100% and get the people through the door.
Great. Well, we are here today on Motherhood Talk Radio with Maureen McDermott, and she's a real estate professional, and she's got a lot more information to share with us, and we are going to go for break.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. No more mommy madness. The Sanity Hour is the antidote. It's the Sanity Hour with Ann Dunawall. Monday evenings at 6, 7 Central. Part of the Her Insight Network on TogiNet.com. Join Ann as she guides parents through issues that arise from simply living in our current high-energy, high-pressure culture of perfection and achievement. Moms and dads are bombarded daily. Sign up for this, buy that, enrich your child's life, enhance your child's development, worry about this danger, provide this experience. Ann Dunawall, PhD, is here to help. She's a licensed psychologist in independent practice in Dallas, specializing in women's mental health issues. And her mission here is to help women sort out the guilt and anxiety of the unrealistic demands of motherhood on a daily basis. For more information on her and her books, go to AnnDunawall.com. That's AnnDunawald.com. Arming women against the pressures of modern motherhood. Here to give moms balance and expectations, cutting themselves some slack. It's the Sanity Hour with Ann Dunawall. Monday evenings at 6, 7 Central. Part of the Her Insight Network on TogiNet.com. Let's chat it up with Bloom Talk with Barb Scala on TogiNet. Thursday afternoons at 3 Eastern, 2 Central. And find out how women are growing, blossoming, and blooming in their friendships and careers, health, and so much more. It's Bloom Talk with Barb Scala. Check out our website, bloomwithbarb.com. Whether you want to transplant your life or just do a little pruning, Bloom Talk will inspire you to cultivate the lifestyle you want to live. Join lifestyle coach and co-author of Sanity Savers, Barb Scala, each week on Bloom Talk and sprout your dreams. Grow your life.
I hear a lot from women. I want meaning in my life. I want a fulfilling life. I want to do something that's exciting. And I can control my life instead of my life controlling me. I can tell the world this is who I am and this is what I'm all about.
Barb will introduce you to dynamic guests and real women who are redesigning, rebuilding, and reinventing their own lives. And Bloomstorm how you can dream, create, and grow the lifestyle you want to live. It's Bloom Talk with Barb Scala. Thursday afternoons at 3 Eastern, 2 Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, mamas. We are here today talking about real estate. Before we go back to our wonderful guest, Maureen, I want to track back for a few minutes. I want everybody to go to Pepsi Refresh and get in there and sign up so that you can vote for the Freedom Dogs. Make sure that our wounded warriors get the service animals that they need and make sure and deserve, and to make sure that our animals have an opportunity to serve. Because I have 4 rescues. Christy, you have a dog. I mean, we've got 5 dogs between us.
Yes.
And they're amazing animals. And if we can put dogs that would normally be put down to work to help our wounded warriors, I mean, that just rocks. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, get over there to Pepsi Refresh, Wounded Warriors, Freedom Dogs. I just have Wounded Warriors on the brain today.
Is it Wounded Soldiers or Wounded Warriors?
It's Wounded Soldiers,
okay. They are warriors.
They are warriors. I guess warriors, like soldiers are army, but we're going to move on.
Okay. Moving on.
That boat has sailed. So today we're here with Maureen McDermott, and she is a very successful real estate agent, and she has lots of good advice and lots of good input. We had her on the segment, and one of the questions Christy and I were talking about, Maureen, on break was there's some of the stuff that we see on the home channels, the home networks, when we watch these shows, and there's 2 of them that came up. I want to ask my question first, because that's what I do.
That's what you do.
That's what I do.
Go ahead.
But there's a question about, family photographs and, really personal effects. One of the shows I was watching said that you should remove the photographs of your kids and your family and then really personal things, because buyers coming into the house want to envision themselves in the house and not see all your stuff. What's your take on that?
I think that's true. I don't like my clients to strip their house that there's no personality. But the best advice I could give you, and what I do give my clients, is think about when you check into a really fancy hotel and you're checking into a Ritz-Carlton or just some yummy hotel, and it's just always like you go there and it's just always really comfortable. It's not maybe exactly the floral print you would pick for the couch in the room or the chair, but it's really comfortable. And that's what you want. You want it to be inviting, but yet you want your buyer to go, ooh, my table would fit really well there, or my personal pictures would be there. When a seller has too much of their own personal items in the house, a buyer subconsciously thinks, well, there's no room for me here. And therefore, you want to make it lean and mean, but have a few things, because you don't want to strip it of all personality. That's what I encourage my clients to do. Bookshelves. If you have, 80,000 books on your bookshelves, maybe reduce it down to 40,000. So you can have some on their sides, some straight up. Start to do it kind of just where it looks like there's room. There's room for somebody to move in. I do also recommend, by the way, if you have any prescriptions, that those are taken out if you do open houses. Do not leave prescription items around the house, either during brokers' opens or during public open houses. And, of course, it goes without saying anything of value you put away during an open house.
Well, yeah, prescription drugs have value, but they're also really fun to look at the prescription and then Google what the prescription is. But I never.
No. A lot of people take them, Sandra.
Oh, okay.
They take the prescription.
Hello.
People go through, and they all of a sudden that prescription is gone. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so for that reason, they actually take the prescription because they're after the drugs.
They're after the drugs. Wow. See, not being someone who's after drugs, I was like, I wonder what this does. Let me Google it.
No. Well, I'm glad I clarified that in case others know. So put away your prescription drugs because people do go through and take them. Put away your valuables because it's really easy to slip a little ring or something into your pocket.
That's true because no one's really watching you.
Nobody's
and
watching.
And you can't watch a whole house. You just can't. The agent that's sitting in the open house can't watch the whole house.
If I can't watch a whole house, then I have somebody come with me. I am a proponent of the law of abundance, and if I'm having an open house and I can't watch the whole house, then I have another agent come with me, and we do it together. Because it's really about trying to market that house. It's not about trying to get every single client for yourself, you know. So I typically have another agent with me, so the whole house is being watched. And the answers, you can be there to answer questions, because I want to be able to engage with the buyers that have taken the time to come to the house, and I want to answer their questions. And if 2 or 3 people come through the door at the same time, somebody isn't going to get the full attention that they deserve. So I have more than one agent. Typically, almost all my open houses, I have more than one agent with me.
That's good to know, and that's good advice for anybody that, has their home on the market. Christy, you were asking about cookies.
Well, you always hear, bake cookies or pop popcorn, and that really gets the buyer in the mood to, make an offer. Is any of that true?
Yes, actually it is. Again, it gives that warm, fuzzy feeling, but be careful what you do. Cookies are great. Popcorn leaves a oil smell.
Okay.
So, and it's funny you use that exact example because I have a house that has a popcorn maker in it, and the tenants thought they were doing me a huge favor before one of my open houses and made all this popcorn. And I said, that's great, but now the house smells like oil. So don't do that. But the cookies give off a nice, warm and fuzzy. Again, it's the kind of invitation that a buyer subconsciously goes, oh, this feels good. And some people actually will keep brewing on their stove apple cider and put some cinnamon sticks in it.
Oh, I've heard that too.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it does. It makes a difference when you walk into a home and it smells good. But the thing you don't want to do, you do not want to burn too many candles throughout the house. Candles are pretty, but if you have too many candles burning through the house, then people say, what are they trying to hide? What smell are they trying to hide? The body.
The body and the cat and dog smells.
No, it could be a mold smell. It could be a mildew smell. Could be, a myriad of things.
So that's, so from a seller standpoint, is there any other good tips and tricks you can give us from the seller side before we talk about buying?
I think just, make sure your house looks presentable. Really walk through the house, make it presentable, pull the weeds, get the yard cleaned up, tidy up. It's a good time to get rid of those clothes that you think you're gonna fit back into and they're bulging out of your closet. Get rid of them. You want it to look like you're not stuffed out of the house, because if you have everything, the closets are overstuffed and whatever, people are going to say, oh, well, there's no room in this house, even for the family.
Right, there's no storage. Or
there's no storage. There's no storage. There's no nothing. So that's just what I would recommend.
So now let's see. So we've talked about selling a house. We've talked about, kind of being a working mother. Let's talk a little bit about the process of buying a house, because homes are selling right now. We are seeing some movement in the market. Not a lot, but some movement. There is definite movement in buyers are out there, and buyers are stepping up to the plate when they see value. If buyers sometimes come to my open houses, they're like, well, we're not ready to buy yet. I say, that's okay. You're doing exactly what you should do. I have always asked my buyers to be as educated as I am in the marketplace, because when they are, in fact, ready to buy and they have sold their house or they have gotten that final job placement or whatever it is that now is the last link to why they now can buy, I want them to be as educated about the market as I am, so that when I call them and say,
there's a house that's going on the market next Tuesday, and this will be the price, they will understand if that is a good value or not, because they would have already have done their homework. So first and foremost, if in fact you're going to be in the market and you will be getting a loan, go get your pre-approval. Do not be wasting time. Okay, I found the house I want. Now I'm running around to a bank trying to get pre-approval. Go get your ducks in a row. Go get your pre-approval done. Necessarily not just with one lender, maybe go to two lenders and get all of those, the paperwork taken care of. So you're walking around, already have your pre-approval in place, and you go. I always encourage my clients to go to open houses. I encourage them to know the market so that when they are ready, they know what is a good deal. And they're not.
Now, would you recommend that your clients go to a mortgage broker, or would you recommend that they go to specific banks? I mean, where does one begin, especially if they're first-time home buyers?
There are some fabulous first-time home buyer programs out there, and their realtor should be able to guide them. Any realtor, or I would say most realtors, have a good referral network of lenders, direct lenders, and mortgage lenders that they can refer them to. And it does make a difference. Not everybody has the same interest rates, and you want to make sure you're taking advantage of every program that would apply to you. Like I'm so excited. I just had a closing, and if we had it negotiated by April 30th, my clients would be able to take advantage of the $8,000 credit that was being the government was offering for first-time buyers. I shared
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and I shared that with my the listing agent. I was representing the buyers, and I said, "Hey, if we can get this done tonight, we could get an additional $8,000 that my clients could apply to the government for." And I was really excited that the listing agent heard me, and it happened to be a real estate-owned property, which means it was bank-owned, and he had the seller, i.e. banker's home number, and we put it together at 9 o'clock at night. But that contract was signed April 30th, so my clients could apply. And I think that's the important thing, depending on what your situation is, Sandra, the buyer situation, that they do have a realtor that can refer them to 2 or 3 lenders and take advantage of every program that's out there for your needs. I would encourage you to talk to a mortgage lender and directly to a bank. And if you already have a pre-existing relationship with a bank, talk to them.
Right, right. So if you've been banking at a bank for a long time, that would be a good place to go and talk to them to see what's available, because they already handle your money.
Right, and there are things like all of a sudden when you're getting pre-approved, it's like you may not realize, I had a nick on my credit report. Well, take that time while you're looking for real estate. Go get that credit nick taken care of.
That's
Utilize the time before you're ready to buy. Take care and use it wisely.
Okay, we're about to go to break. We're here with Maureen McDermott. When we come back, we're going to talk about how to choose a real estate agent.
Mom, here's your show, Motherhood Talk Radio, giving you interesting, inspiring, and influential information as you navigate everything from childcare to corporate formation. This is Motherhood Talk Radio, and we'll be right back after these. Combine snide and remark, and you've got snark. Combine Lisa Mena and Valia Alvarez on Monday nights, and you've got deep dish snark. Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, part of the Her Insight Network. When you've had enough at work or at home, and you're ready to laugh, join Lisa and Valia for their no BS look at the world and the people in it. They'll be serving up a no-holds-barred take on pop culture, current events, entertainment, and family matters, with segments like Accidentally Helpful, TV is Now My Hobby, and Who Sucks This Week. Deep Dish Snark delivers something for every girl who enjoys life with a dash of sarcasm. Lisa Manna is a former TV news anchor turned stay-at-home mom. She's making sure if anyone screws up her kids, it's her. Valia Alvarez suffers life as a jack of all trades, mistress of none, by juggling a PR career, marriage, motherhood, and more. Don't miss Deep Dish Snark with Lisa Manna and Valia Alvarez, Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, part of the Her Insight Network, on TogiNet.com. Get ready for the Not So Soccer Mom, Tuesday afternoons at 1 Eastern, noon Central, on TogiNet with Jill Hickey. You name it, from politics to pop culture to Jill's search for the perfect bronzer and chicken salad. The Not So Soccer Mom will weigh in on it all. The sentence, "I have no opinion about that," is one that Jill has never uttered. In the early 90s, Jill finally decided to put her thoughts, opinions, mom advice, love of pop culture, hummus, and Starbucks, working out, cosmetic shopping, and politics into an actual website, and thus NotSoSoccerMom.com was born. Shortly after her fourth child, a boy, Jerome, now she's really got tons of topics to share with you. This is Laugh Out Loud Funny, and we're not kidding. What's a loud Nebraska girl who lived in Little Rock for many years and now is up in the Northeast doing? Chronicling her opinions on everything. The wheels aren't off yet, but it's close. It's the Not So Soccer Mom with Jill Hickey, Tuesday afternoons at 1 Eastern, noon Central on TogiNet.com. Welcome back to Motherhood Talk Radio, the most powerful voice in women's issues. For more information, check out the website, motherhoodtalkradio.com. Now, let's get back to the show with your hosts, Sandra Beck and Christy Holly.
Hey, we are here on Motherhood Talk Radio with Christy Holly. Christy, how you doing?
Good.
Learning a lot today.
I am.
What is, I'm so glad I got that picture question answered. That's been rolling around my head for like 6 months.
I know, when we sold our house, I didn't have a ton of pictures, but I had some, and I feel like the people welcome that, you know. They liked seeing our little family, and I had candles burning too, but not a lot of them.
No, it's okay. What were you covering up?
I know. Can't tell you. No, but it ended up that somebody that I knew from like my childhood bought our home.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
I know.
It's pretty cool. You know, in the process of buying and selling your home, choosing a real estate agent is really difficult. I mean, some of us are lucky and we have moms and dads or, family members that are real estate agents, because in some markets it seems like everyone has a real estate license.
Right. Our neighbor was ours. I mean, it just so happened.
And did you choose him because he was your neighbor and you trusted him or her?
Well, we were just wanted to go look at houses one day, and she was a realtor, so we were like, let's ask Irene to do it. And we weren't even sure that we were going to move. We just wanted to go look around. And once we started looking, we were just kind of like, okay, we're moving. And we really didn't have to do anything to our home. Our home pretty much sold itself because we did have a beautifully maintained yard. Is my husband?
Yes, he is. I saw him on the lawnmower yesterday.
He's amazing.
He
is amazing, and our house was perfect. So wasn't hiding any smells.
Right.
So, she didn't really have to do anything. She lived across the street from us, and I did the open houses. But I don't know. That's how we chose ours, just by chance.
Yeah, it's a hard decision. And Maureen, I was hoping you could enlighten us today on, what are some things that we need to look for or to ask, like what are good questions that people have asked you over the years about you? How do we choose a real estate professional to help us in what is the largest transaction most of us will probably make in our lives?
Right. I think that most people, as we do when you say, hey, what's a good restaurant, or do you have a good dentist, or do you have a good doctor, or we ask our friends. Typically, we ask the people that we already trust, that we have a relationship with, and say, hey, can you refer me to, my child needs braces now. Who did you guys go to as an orthodontist? And we ask our friends. It's no different with a realtor. I would say start with your friends that have recently bought or sold or have talked about real estate, so that that's where they are. And I would ask them about their experience. Did you have a good experience? Did the realtor do what they said they were going to do? There are two ways that I would go. First, I would ask your friends, hey, who have you used? Who do you think was good? Did they do what you said? And I would also go to open houses. See how that realtor presents that house to the public and see, is that the way I'd want my house presented? Going back to what I was saying before, I always have a second realtor standing with me if I need to, if the house size or floor plan warrants it, then I do that. It's really important to me how I personally present a house to the public. And that's the kind of thing you can pick up on. When you walk into an open house, is that realtor on the phone? Are they sitting there reading a magazine? Well, I want someone, if a buyer walks...
Are you through the refrigerator looking for something to eat?
What did you say?
I said, are they looking through the refrigerator to see what there's good to eat?
Yeah, exactly. So, when a potential buyer walks in, I want the realtor able to be able to talk to them. I've always said to people that anybody can put a sign in front of your house and can put an ad in the paper. That any realtor can do. Think about who you want negotiating on your behalf, because that's really what it boils down to. Who is the person that you want representing you in that transaction? And are they capable of representing you and negotiating if you are selling your house to the highest possible price, or if you are buying a house, can they negotiate the lowest price on your behalf? So that's how I would approach looking for a realtor. I would start with your friends and get referrals, and then go to open houses and see who you like, how they present themselves and the house.
Well, and one thing that's kind of interesting in real estate that's not in other professions is that, there's a commission that's a flat rate, and that same commission is paid to, Johnny right out of his, training pants who just got his real estate license at 19, as opposed to getting paid as a real estate agent who has, how many years experience, Maureen?
I don't know, 18.
18 years experience, where you've had things that you've had to negotiate, you've had to compromise, you're probably well versed in contract law, not that you're an attorney, but you do things enough, you're going to have a lot of experience. Would you say that in if a toss up between a young, like a novice new attorney versus an experienced attorney, that would be something that would tip the scales?
I think it would. I think there are, it's funny you ask, because there are times that I have had listings and I thought to myself, there's no way that somebody out the box new to the field would have ever been able to have handled this transaction. But I also say I applaud enthusiasm, and I have seen a lot of young, newer agents in my firm just get out there and they have enthusiasm, and by gosh, they're going to get that house sold, or they're going to help that buyer find the house they want. So I'm quick to also encourage and help and guide newer agents, but if it is a listing, would I go with somebody more seasoned? Probably. Or I would give the younger agent a chance and have them bring in a seasoned agent.
Yeah, a mentorship or a partnership.
A mentorship or partnership, because how are we ever going to teach people if we don't give them a chance?
That's true.
So, if you see a great, somebody like, wow, that boy or that girl, they have a lot of enthusiasm. Hey, so you know what? I'm really interested in having you maybe represent us to buy a house or sell a house, but we understand you're newer in the business. Is there a mentor that you work with that maybe would be part of your team? And
that's such a great way. It's a great way to preserve everybody's kind of dignity and reputation, and
right.
And but also, one of the things that's always intrigued me about real estate is that everybody does make fun of real estate agents, like Annette Bening in that movie, and but a real estate agent has to wear many hats. It's like not only do they have to advise their clients, they have to market a property, but then we also expect them to negotiate. And I think a lot of people think of real estate agents just as, somebody who sells a house.
Right.
But really what you're paying for is a seasoned negotiator.
It's all about negotiation. It is not about, as I go back to what I said, anybody can hang a sign, anybody can put an ad in the paper. You want somebody who will negotiate to the highest level on your behalf, whether you're buying or selling. And that's what's really important, because we can all put people in our car and drive you around. That's not hard to do. But real estate is so much. I always kind of giggle when I see people say, well, it didn't work what I was doing, so I'm going to go get my real estate license. I go, oh, good for you. And run into them 18 months later, and they're looking browbeaten and exhausted, and they're like, wow, this is really hard. Oh, didn't I tell you that?
Well, and, Christy's a notary. Christy, my co-host here, is a notary, and you have signed some real estate documents in your day, my dear.
Yes, I have.
And there's a lot of them.
There is a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, tremendous, and it changes constantly. You have to stay on top of it. I personally go to a lot of classes because I want to get certified in certain areas, and I want to stay abreast of what's going on. I mean, I just recently got my short sales certificate because I do a lot of bank-owned properties, and it's important to me that I come off as somebody who has taken the extra step to take classes to actually know that skill set.
Well, and you earn our trust that way.
I think so. And it's important. I mean, come on, when we all go to a dentist office, you want to make sure they have the most current equipment. And when you go to a realtor, you want to make sure that they have the tools in their toolbox, whatever that need is, to take care of your needs. And if that, for me, it means being current on the paperwork, being current on the trends, being current on the loans that are available out there. It's more than just putting a sign out and putting somebody in your car and showing them a house.
Well, and I think that's the one thing, I've flipped homes in my day. I've had multiple homes, and, the first time I went into a real estate transaction, I was like, oh, man, this real estate agent cleaned up, thinking, looking at the commission, because, you look at that balance sheet at the end, and you go, wow, but then you look at not only the liability that you take in advising us in this financial transaction, but the one thing that we don't see a lot in real estate is the behind the scenes of how much there is to know. And, in a smooth transaction, Maureen, and we only have a couple of minutes until break, but in a smooth transaction, it's smooth. Real estate agents really earn their money when it's not a smooth transaction.
Yeah, I agree with that. And most of them are not smooth anymore. It just, unfortunately, it seems to be the way of the world. And the other part, speaking of commission is negotiable in the state of California anyway. I can't speak to the other states, but it is a negotiable item. And when you see that commission on the settlement statement, remember that agent isn't walking away with all that money. It gets split in half, the buy side and the sell side, and then the agents are independent agents. They are self-employed, and we have to pay a percentage of that commission to the company that we work for. So by the time that commission is sliced and diced, that agent is not walking away with that big number you're seeing on the settlement.
No, and there's a cost to doing business. You guys have to pay for advertising. You have to pay for marketing. You have to carry E&O insurance, which is almost a couple grand a year.
Yes.
So we've got a minute to break, Maureen. Is there any last piece of advice you'd like to give our listeners today about real estate? One thing that you'd like them to take away today?
I think just, as a buyer, be educated before you buy, be prepared. As a seller, prepare your house correctly. And if you are a seller, make sure that you are priced correctly. That is the key ingredient in today's market. If you're priced correctly, you will sell your house. And if you have a good agent, it markets it correctly, they'll bring all the qualified buyers to you. And all
right, girls. Well, we are heading out of today's show. We have had a lovely guest in Maureen McDermott. And Christy and I, we're going to be back again next week. And we have, I'm going to call her a mystery guest. Because the mystery guest really just, makes people want to listen again next week to see who we have.
That's right. Makes me want to listen.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of Motherhood Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Christy Holly, part of the Her Insight Network on TogiNet.com.